Let's see if we can communicate these failures in 3 to 5 minutes, and then let's tackle one at a time. All right, today on the Failure Series, Travis Blevins with Behavioral Services of the Rockies. He is a Patreon supporter of this channel. I was out there filming some content with him and his organization, one of them which is going to be an RBT piece on what is an RBT and what's that like. Ooh, it's going to be good. I'm so excited. But a few key things here. Extremely well trained. One of the most amazing, big-hearted, passionate people I've met in my career. Don't let his manly, muscly beard throw you off on that. And one of the things that came up last week was this failure to launch idea. You have something that you're sitting on, and that's something I've been doing with the Behavior Bank for a very long time. So I was like, hey, let's record this and share some thoughts and ideas with the community and see where this goes. So part of the Failure Series, that is failures, lessons learned and such, we have Travis here today with BSOTR. And we want to talk about failure to launch. So this idea of you have this idea, something you want to get off the ground, and lessons that you can learn from those. So one for me was this idea of a behavior bank. I've been failing to launch this thing for 8 years. Now I'd like to say that there's reasons why, but I'm curious, what are some projects you may have failed to launch?
Well, I would say they're delayed. I don't know if they're abject failures all the time, but there's definitely things that I've had on the back burner for a very long time, waiting for the current culture in Colorado and the region to be where it needs to be, trying to stay ahead of where the funding might move, trying to get there before that. And then if that doesn't happen, then I just put it back on the burner.
So what are a couple? You told me about the preschool.
Yeah, the ABA school, which is, the idea behind that is to have a preschool where you have a neurotypically developing child and a child on the spectrum paired up, to where you have peer modeling, peer correction, a buddy system, where they're assigned folks on the spectrum, and they kind of help them through their day at the preschool.
And share with you, you not only thought about this, but you even had some space, right?
Oh yeah, we found at the Elks Lodge, downstairs at the Elks Lodge. It wasn't the best place, but it was a starter place to where we could generate enough tuition to where we could buy it. And we had all that set up, and then the health department came in and said, you need a toilet in here, you need a sink in here, and they were like, this is a really old building, they're not going to do that, we're renting. I was trying to do it, of course, without any debt, and do it just zero budget to get it started, and that kind of got put on a burner until we find space.
What about the other one, the extending services in New Mexico?
We've looked at basically a lot of these ideas that I've got have come from just need. When I've gotten out to Navajo Nation, which is the largest Indian reservation in the United States, it runs from the Colorado border all the way down to, I think, I-40. It's a massive northwest corner of New Mexico. And there's nobody there. There's not a single BCBA serving that population. And it's something like 18% fetal alcohol syndrome, and they have no services at all. There's actually an ICFMR on the reservation. So starting all that, drove down there, thought this was going to be great. I had a meet with the director of special ed for the entire Navajo Nation. It's going to be awesome. It's going to get referrals because they take straight Medicaid. They have all sorts of other funding too. And she asked for a job. So I was bummed out. And then 2 weeks later, the Navajo Nation Tribe Council fired all of the non-native administrators without any transfer of services. We actually still serve some clients there, but for the most part, they're clients on the outer edges of the reservation. We're not going into the reservation and seeing folks in their home, which presents all sorts of crazy barriers. Like, there is no internet. I'd have to have a Wi-Fi hotspot satellite, thing in the car of my therapist, and there's a lot of barriers. But still, it's still on the radar, and we're still working diligently to get that to happen because of the need.
That's what I was going to get at. What are some of the take-home points? I think for me, it's a similar experience where I didn't know necessarily what skill sets went into something, and I didn't know what I've learned a lot, and I continue learning, business, for example, what it actually takes to be able to say, we're going to do this. So for me, it's been I'm trying to think of tips on how to speed this up. As your idea, I think, has more you've actually thought it out, taking it to others for that feedback. Someone like yourself.
There's a really good book called The E-Myth.
Yeah, the E-Myth Revisited.
And I'm sure you probably read it, but if you have a vision because you love to cook and you want to open up a restaurant, those are two totally different things. You can have a vision of of doing this wonderful thing, the mechanics of getting it there have to be laid out, or at least thought out enough that you know where to go to the resources to make that happen.
Exactly.
Whereas if you don't do that, you can get caught where you're like, you suddenly don't have those skill sets, and the person that does is super expensive.
Yep.
So another instance would be my vision to open up a small ICFMR that is like a 6-bed ICFMR, in which we could get higher rates for higher need folks and pull folks out of the institutions into the community in a high structured, high need place in the middle of a neighborhood. All of that was great. Everything looked good until you had to have a nursing administrator who had operational control, and their starting salaries are 6 figures.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't just start with that. So that was another barrier. That may change down the road, but it's still something that went on the front burner and then back to the back burner for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'm thinking that emails book was huge. I was given that from a couple different mentors. I'm glad that you brought that up. We're going to link that down below for everybody. I think it's taking ideas to folks. You can start to speed up, because other folks with the business acumen or the experience, right, can be like, think about this, or like, check that out. That's been useful for me. And then the other part is like identifying what skill sets, like you said, but who else can work with you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it is crucial to find the right team.
Absolutely. And if you find somebody that's solid gold, just hold on to them. Because in this day and age, people are moving around a lot more than they used to. So you have to identify what your folks' reinforcers are and try to make those accessible through your operation, for sure.
All right, with this, I also sent out a poll for next week's failure series. So do me a favor, vote, tell me which one that you're interested in. If you have other ideas, put that in the comments down below. That works as well. And that's your Patreon behind the scenes value added daily BA.